Hello. Hello. It's such a simple thing. One tiny word. To heck with those that say hell is other people. Hello can be what you want it to mean. It's a hand out held. Welcome in, stranger no more. Well, how have you been? A dashing chap, delightful dish. That one thing that you really couldn't do without. Hello is new, is old alike. Breaker of ice, timid, held question, wondrous deliverance from pain of an empty life when someone says hello. On the worst day to exist, I see you. Hello is hope. Hello is poetry. So, give us your name.
Aye, Graham.
Just Graham.
Aye, Graham.
Well, Mr. Brodie, you're on at Hello Poetry tonight in Edinburgh.
Aye.
How are you feeling about it?
Excited.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's a progressive move.
How do you mean progressive?
Well, factually, whoever watches this, right, this is what it's about. Hello Poetry is the continuation of a long line of things to do with creativity and healing, as I see it. So what Craig Duffy and myself are trying to do is encourage anyone who's got any voice at all to voice it. And everyone's got a voice, and I'm quite interested in silent people. I want them to voice what they're actually holding. So anyway, Hello Poetry is a not-for-profit organisation which will ultimately bring into the light loads of people's ideas, heartfelt emotion, the whole bit. And tonight's just the beginning, and if you're into it, get into it.
Perfect.
Alright, I'm going to kick things off. I'm Rosie. I'm the organiser of Soapbox. This happens every couple of weeks, well, every 2 weeks. And we just get together, and there's a group of us who kind of come and we get up and we do some poetry, and that's what we're going to do tonight. But tonight is really exciting because it's the first night of Hello Poetry, which is a Scottish-wide poetry tour, which is going to be going on for the next couple of weeks. And it's about bringing poets together from different scenes, so like bringing poets over from Glasgow, from Stirling, Aberdeen, and mixing them up and putting them together, which is really exciting, and it's great to be a part of that. And I have a poem about Hello Poetry, which Craig is going to read, which I'm going to kick off the night with. Hello. It's such a simple little thing. One tiny word. To heck with those that say hell is other people. Hello can be what you want it to mean. It's a hand held out. Welcome in. A stranger no more. Well, how have you been? A dashing chap, delightful dish. That one thing that you really couldn't do without. Hello is new, is old alike. Breaker of ice, timid held question. Wondrous deliverance from pain of an empty life when someone says hello. On the worst day to exist, I see you. Hello is hope. Hello is poetry.
That is the historic first poem of this here idea.
Thank you very much. We're going to have three or four poets, and then we're going to have a break so people can go out and smoke, drink, talk, discuss poetry, hopefully. And then we're going to come back and we'll have another 4 poets. So I'm going to kick you off with a couple of poems. This was the poem I wrote for the very first Soapbox, which was on the anniversary of Che Guevara's death. It was called Dedicated to a Freedom Fighter. You say revolution, and they answer moderation. We all shout for change, but there is no reform. Injustice is inherited. Inequality is not interrogated. We're told this is the way it is, but when have they ever tried different? The revolution of our time. How will we be remembered? As a caring, giving race filled with pride, or as a set of nation states filled with greed and the bottom line? The many work their hands and feet, partake of menial labour, as the bourgeois sit around and lounge with so much time to savour. How's it justified that they claim slavery died, when we willingly enslave ourselves, through debt and mortgage, our material wealth? The chains are gone, but the locks still operate, across our hearts, our minds, our times, for profit. Profit cannot hold you, cannot wipe away your tears. Profit has not the voice to comfort all your fears, and yet we hold it in such high esteem, put it on a platform for all to see. It is the carrot they dangle before your eyes as they use the stick to break your back. I realise that I can't self-actualise the pain of these times, but I can shout it from the rooftop till you learn how to think, talk, and feel without their eyes. Got another one, a little bit along the same sort of themes. Doesn't really have a name. We witness the collision of human injustice. Stand at the gates of pain and misery, watch the world bear its guts to the sky, as we see no evil, hear no evil, and speak only of the mundane, speculative anecdotes that fill our own personal limited scope. Are you blind, I cry? Do you hear the crashing all around you? The violence of this overpopulated planet is pulsing through me, and all that we admit that we see is what they flicker on advertisements, as the world describes it, as something to be cured by money and charity. When will we see that we really aren't free, in a world so blind that when our children and our brothers' children are crying, it's ignored and pushed to the floor? Because who wants to dwell on an issue we can't sell, when all that we are is a sign on our door, the shadow we show to the rest of the globe? And we don't let them poke a finger at the foundation in case it crumbles under the speculation of all that we hide, like the pain of these times. Women in suffering, children going hungry, men beating through the anger they eschew. You see there's these magnetic forces holding us down. They're called materialism, commerce, and the postmodernist ideal that, babe, it ain't real, or me who has to deal with this issue you're selling. That's for politicians, my darling. And they keep such straight faces as they smack their hands down to keep their heads in the ground so far beneath the skin of all this violent din. I forgot the end of the poem. I've got one last one, which is not quite so heavy-handed, and it's about living in Edinburgh and being surrounded by the just sheer unadulterated beauty of being surrounded by Arthur Sea and the Pentlands, and like how fantastic it is to live in the city. It's a little bit, sorry, Jim is from Glasgow. It goes a little bit like this. This living painting that we create, the palette of conversation we shape, the outline of our misery or faith, blue shades mixed through red sky thinking, pattern light that fades to grey. We erase forgotten moments and fill in the ones that light our day. Nurture the colours that fill our hearts with beauty and truth. There is life here in this painting that we create. The ink of our hearts entwines together to create a panoramic image in a disconnected world. Pebble-dashed imagining scattered, ragged edges smoothed by many hands, joined hands, as the colour of our hearts mingle through the dark. Soft lines touched with jaded paint, ideas lost in empty wakes, filled in portraits of old mistakes. Here is a painting that we create. Pencil-sharpened words of youth, lost in battered years of truth. Edged over anchors weighted through the painting's long forgotten hue. Life in a painting flushed with truth. Thank you. We have three more poets for you. We're going to have Dr. Jim Ferguson, who's going to do us a set, and then we're going to have Jane, who's going to get up and do something for us, and that's going to be closely followed by Craig Duffy, and then we'll have a break.
Yeah, thanks very much. I didn't realise I didn't realise it was my turn.
Sorry,
It's a good enough reason to get on.
I like to keep you on your toes.
Aye. It's nice to get up in the morning, but it's better to lie in your bed. This is the Close. The Close is such a seductive place. The Close is a time traveller from slums to yuppies, from the midden to the speak here door, the Macintosh glaze, the razor slash, drinking hoosies, all that. Haberdash from Habitat, the Scottish writer's romantic setting for heavy scenes and heavy petting. The close, oh aye, my ain wee close. Sitting on the stair, your cellar resident comes out and says, you can't sit there all night, and he's right, it's fucking freezing. A million dark and dingy metaphors, the smell of piss, like the smell of piss, a redundant can of special. What you doing sitting there? You can't drink in here, pal. I know, but the close is such a seductive place. I've got to be in it. I've got to be in it. Seduction is such a welcoming word, not lonely at all. I'll do this thing I wrote some while back. It's called 20 Items in the Nature of Wind. That is the wind you think it is. And haven't actually read this out since about maybe 1996 or something. Anyway, they're all numbered from 1 to 20, but there is a 19 and a half, so strictly speaking, it should be 21 items in the nature of wind. Anyway, 1. Just a particularly usual morning, wake up, fart, go to the bathroom, sit down to write some usual things, and just be particularly struck on a usual morning with the word fart. Is it poetic enough, that kind of thing, that particularly usual word, fart? 2. Content and form, what can I say? I don't know the answer to what comes first, questions or answers, but then there must be some kind of meaning. Avoid bad puns, that's what I've been told. Form and content and false dichotomies, forever. 3. It's just being alive, being gentle, being true, trying to keep going and not do too much damage. Who are those who would trespass against us? Is it a question of class, haircuts, styles of dress, or merely the vocal cords, the right to exploit even the thoughts in your head? 4. It's a different approach in a way, sounds, concretes, performances, but maybe it isn't different, all just process. Best and worst, science and laws, ideas and history, language and ideology. Language. If some folks still want to use iambic pentameter, that's fine. 6. If some folk don't want to use any pentameter, iambic or otherwise, that's fine. 7. If somebody wants to play the sound of a fart through a tape recorder, fine, that's very liberal. Maybe that's not fine, that's fine. 8. Having sat at the table for some time on a cold January morning, it makes sense to go over to the gas fire for a heat. That's fine too, as long as you can pay the bill. 9. Having introduced economics, one is tempted to talk about the economy of language. 10. Having introduced economics, one is tempted to talk about the economics of accent, the economics of accent and colour, the economics of accent and colour, race and freedom of movement, the economics of accent and colour, race and freedom of movement, and what is meant by Fortress Europe. 11. One is tempted to talk about politics. 12. One is tempted to talk about religion. 13. One is not tempted to talk about these things at all, as they aren't supposed to be mentioned in pubs, polite company, or in poetry that emanates from Oxford or Cambridge, though in the case of the last two, it is allowed if done with delicacy. 14. I don't like all this poetry, which takes as its subject matter the writing of poetry. 15. The opposite of 14. 16. Can numbers have opposites? Negative. 17. This is absurd. 18. This is absurd as a statement only to be used by the upper middle class and super rich when referring to existential angst. 19. Existential angst is often experienced by the lower orders when they fart in delicate company or that of their superiors. Of course, they have no conception of what existential angst is, so spend half their lives walking about in a state of deep alienation. 19 and a half. They don't know what alienation means either. 20 is back to the same old questions, from Aristotle to the Romantics, through classicism, neoclassicism, all kinds of movements, aesthetics, values and poetic creeds. It's just so much better to wake up, have a good fart and write, if that's how you feel. That's that now. fucker that ever lived, Alex Harvey, a fellow Glaswegian, called Alex Harvey Was Our Guide. This is not Radio 4, it's a verbal liberation thundering through your door. This is not Radio 3, it's a crazy gladness flying into your tree. This is not Radio 2, it's a sonic transformation heading straight to you. This is alive, a real living space. This is street life, it's a jungle full of grace. This is a man with stockings in his mouth. This is writing on our walls with no need to head south. This is our voice, it's a Glaswegian call. They think it's funny when you fuck up and it's funny when you fall. A cartoon hero with a dignified chant, with a crazy striped t-shirt and a beatific rant. This is Hey Jimmy with a slice of Jacques Brel. It's a theatre of sound you can touch, taste and smell. This is life uncovered as your feet take the floor and you're swimming up a river you did not know you loved before. It's a tree and a fish and a bird and a bell and all that other crap that the tourist shops sell. It's laughter and hope and depression and death. It's a different holy book, it's your heartbeat and your breath. This is where they rob you of your skills and your wealth. This is chain-smoking life, it's inherent ill health. They will call you a nutter, they will call you off your fucking tree. If never the exploiter nor exploited shall ye be. This is radio without wage slaves, this is radio in your head. This is radio anything that you want to say instead. This is not Radio 2, this is not Radio 3, this is not Radio 4. This is not Radio 4. It's a live space, it's a door, it's a wide open door, it's a free and vibrant floor. This is not Radio 4. Wee poem to all of us whose mothers are dead. It's called Often the Rich Complain. Often the rich complain that the poor are living too long. The poor just use up resources that could better be used by the rich. Those unproductive ones who live too long are draining the rich of a slice of their profits. Yet I don't see all the rich queuing to die before their natural time. In reality, quite the reverse. I wept for my wee dying mother, who didn't have time to do all the things that she wanted. All of her life she was poor. All of her life she worked in a job where the air poisoned her body. I did not hear the rich complain about such working conditions, though they were busy aboard their yachts catching suntans and sending out orders. It is always all right for the poor to die this way, but the rich never say, please let me die this way too. Chuck Bukowski. All Chuck Bukowski's deeds, stain called gone, finished through, the whole thing done. Nae wine, nae woman, nae sexist novels, nae poems, nae horses, nae nothing. All bets are off, Chuck. John Lennon's Elba transmits text messages to my brain. Some people live in their cars, they go about with snipers' eyes, they keep their guns in sleeping bags, they're real regular guys. Some folks live in the stars, shining bright with delusion. They got control of their minds right now, but the only way to go is mad. Some folk live in shanty towns, electricity is what they lack. They got no water to cook in, they got whips biting into their backs, but newspapers keep me warm at night and newspapers tell me the truth. And I got a bed of roses, and I got a bed of nails, and I got a bed of concrete and bones. I got a sailboat without any sails. And some folk, they can build their boats, and some folk, they can cook, and others can cure cancer, and some folk, they write books. Sad bastards with Mozart ringtones sit on trains and trances, destroying world peace. And quiet is far too quiet, and loud is much too loud, and young is always much too young, and old is already dead, dead old, pure dead, but brilliant old by the way, and middle-aged is totally fucked, and everybody's useless, except Mrs. Greedy and Mr. Lust, the thrusting entrepreneurs. Scream! Wah! I'm on LSN and I'm on Lycos too. I'm on cable satellite terrestrial and the brew. I'm on dynamite without the Miz. I'm on ecstasy, I'm on bullets and Trojan horses. I'm on LSD and GHP and horse pills that keep you gouged. I'm on moto-sponsored movies. I'm on Rubik's Cube. I'm on Diners Club and Shrapnel. And I'm on Change for the Bus. And I'm away to get a real job now, tell you, he's totally fucked. Because John Lennon's elbow transmits text messages to my brain. Thanks very much, boys and girls. Next up is Andy Pandy and Little Wee.